Hey everybody, welcome back out to the property. I got out here a little bit early today. I'm out here by myself right now. The kids are coming later with Kaylee, and my sister and brother-in-law are coming out to hang out with the kids. And while today's the day we're going to try to get the first driveway culvert in. We're going to put in 30 feet of driveway culvert so we can actually get access onto the property. We've got a few trees down. Starting the clearing, all that good stuff. But really, I just wanted to get on and make a quick little video segment about just what's going on in the world today. You know, what's on the mind of just a normal person out in the general public. And I think that's cool for like our kids to see. Like we said before, this is kind of a video diary to our kids, maybe 30, 40 years down the road, maybe even my grandkids or great grandkids after I'm dead and gone. But it's easy to look back. I even know for myself, like looking back on my grandparents and, you know, when they were growing up or coming up, and it's like, oh, it's so easy to look back and say, oh, that was such a more simple time in the world. And really that may not be true. It may not have been a more simple time in the world. It was just a different time. So some things that are going on in the world today. About a month ago, the country of Russia, led by Vladimir Putin, invaded the country of Ukraine. Both of those countries are former members of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union dissolved, I think, in the early 90s, 1990s. And so we are in 2022, and Russia has invaded Ukraine. And it's created political domino effects all across the world, the globe. It's been a hot topic here in the United States. It's all over the news, that sort of thing. Kind of an unprovoked invasion. So what we've seen, how that's impacted us here as a normal person in the United States is right now, I buy a lot of diesel fuel for my traco, my trucks, that sort of thing. So right now, on average, I'm paying $5 a gallon for diesel fuel, when probably 30 days ago, it was half that. So inflation in the last 12 to 18 months has been insane. They're reporting that it's like 7-8%. I would argue that inflation that we are seeing today is probably 15+%. We are also coming out of, we're on the tail end of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has been sweeping not only the country, but the globe for really 2 years. It's kind of crazy how it started. I can remember being at home and it comes on the news, like we heard about it in Asia. It originated over in China, and we're like, oh, I'll never make it here to the United States. Then we started seeing it pop up around New York City, on the West Coast, places like that. And so at the time, Donald Trump was the president, and their little team of brainiacs got together and said, basically they came out and said, everybody basically stay home for 2 weeks, 14 days to flatten the curve is basically what they called it. And they sold it as, after 14 days, we'll flatten the curve. The virus won't be able to spread because people aren't interacting with each other. And, we'll all be able to go on with our normal lives. Well, that was 2 years ago that we were told 14 days to flatten the curve as a country. And so we have been battling that for 2 years. Schools were totally virtual in North Carolina for a year, I guess. So kids did not go to school for basically a year. They stayed at home. It was all done through the internet. Zoom is a technology that we have in today's world where they video conference with their teachers through their computers. But another interesting dichotomy that's been able to see is Kaylee is from South Carolina, and I am from North Carolina, and we live in North Carolina. But my wife's family still lives in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And my father-in-law is on the school board in Spartanburg. And it has been amazing to see the difference in how different states have handled that pandemic. South Carolina, kids were out of school for 3 or 4 months, went back to school. Kids weren't required to wear masks in school. So much more life like normal in South Carolina, which is 45 minutes down the road from here. And in North Carolina, you know, must be a lot different. The state line makes a huge difference, I guess. But in North Carolina, we were out of school for almost a year, and even students, when they went back to school, were wearing face coverings, masks, for right at 2 years. From the time the pandemic started until just a couple weeks ago, we saw the governor of North Carolina kind of lift that mandate to where the kids in school didn't have to wear masks. So that's been the hot topic. Like, that has been the knockdown, drag out, people just going nuts on social media, Facebook, all that, arguing over this stuff. People at school board meetings raising Cain. So that's been a huge topic going on here. And because of the pandemic, a lot of the manufacturing has slowed down across the country. So it's been a huge domino effect. We've seen now you can't, so 2 years ago, you could go to a Chevrolet dealership, Ford dealership, whatever, and go look at 100 cars that were sitting on their lot, brand new, and you could just pick one out and buy it. You can't do that anymore. Now manufacturing hasn't been able to catch back up, and so we have shortages for everything: lumber, building materials, food, vehicles, everything is a shortage. That's the buzzword. Everything's a shortage. So, which makes it an interesting time to build a house. So luckily with all this crazy inflation that I was talking about earlier, I knew that the way that the government controls inflation is with interest rates. And so the last 2 years, we have seen the lowest interest rates we've ever seen in, maybe in history. I know it's the lowest my parents have ever seen. And so knowing that interest rates were so low, even though building materials have gone up, we decided to build now because we knew those interest rates, were probably going to double in the next year. So about 45 days ago, we were able to lock in a construction loan at 3.25% interest for 30 years on a fixed mortgage. So, when my parents were my age trying to buy homes, interest rates were probably 11, 12, 13%. And so now we're locking in construction loans at 3%. So it's crazy how low interest rates are right now. So that's a big reason why we started to build. And funny enough, we got very lucky that in the last 30 days, 45 days, we've seen interest rates go from 3.25% already to 5% in a little over a month. So we were very fortunate to do that. Trying to think what else to talk about. Corbin had his first T-ball game today of the season. This is his second year playing T-ball. We're on the Rockies. Yeah, go Rockies. I'm coaching their team. It's a lot of fun. And so we had our first game this morning. Let's see, what else is interesting that's happening in the world today that the Eisenhowers of the future may be interested to know? I think that's about it. Housing shortages everywhere. We've seen the value of home prices probably double, if not close to triple, in the last 5 years. So yeah, just a little bit of blurb about what's going on in the world. Thought that would be interesting to add to the video. And I think that would be interesting to know about kind of what was going on in the world, 50 years ago when my grandparents were building their house or raising their family and things like that. So we're gonna get started, get this driveway pipe in. The kids just got here, and we're gonna get the track hoe fired up and get to work. So this is how we shoot grade to make sure that our pipe has proper drainage and all that good stuff. So this is a rotary laser. So it's a self-leveling, and it projects a laser all the way around the perimeter that is perfectly level. Then you use this sensor on your grade rod, and when they line up, you know exactly where you're working off of as far as level for your grade. So whether you have to move this up or down depends on if you're high or low, all that good stuff. So just some of the technology that we are using to build our house. So Said I got on boots. Dude, gonna help me carry some pipe? It ain't heavy.
Are they not in the car? That's not good. All right, Jake. Swing it down there.
Then we'll go for a big draw. Oh, you did that for the pack? Look at the pack. Good job.
Pipe's crooked.
Mine's crooked.
Yeah. Bent like a fish hook. I'm gonna bury this in. Then I'll pull that end around and straighten it up.
Cut the other one in half? The next one?
Yeah.
How do you cut it? You got a saw or something?
Saw's on. So one thing I forgot to mention earlier about stuff that's going on in the world right now is it's March Madness. So the old Tar Heels have made it to the Elite Eight. They won last night, beat UCLA. And Duke, Coach Mike Krzyzewski, this is his last year coaching. He is retiring. And so every game they play in the NCAA tournament, we're all wondering, is this the last game we'll ever see him coach, or is he going to live to fight another day? So Duke is also in the Elite Eight, and Duke plays tonight, and the Tar Heels play tomorrow. St. Mary's is the big Cinderella, or not St. Mary's, St. Peter's University, or St. Peter's College, not real sure, out of New Jersey. They are the Cinderella team this year. They're the first 15 seed to ever make it to the Elite Eight. And so yeah, that's kind of something else that's going on. The Braves won the World Series last year. Bravo Braves. And yeah, that's about it. That's some other stuff that's going on in the world that is something interesting to know. All right, so that's going to wrap up another day here at the new housing project. We got our driveway pipe in, got it buried. We stripped out the ditch, got all the nasty trash out of the ditch, the grass and all the organics out of the ditch. Put 30 feet of hdpe pipe in, got it clicked together and backfilled it. And now we're ready for a little bit of railroad ballast so we can actually get a car in and out of here and not mar up in the mud anymore and have somewhere to park. So appreciate you guys joining us again and your interest in what we got going on. And yeah, we'll keep moving on.